Guys, what we're basically doing today is to search for the tastiest biscuits ever on the playground. Are you guys ready? Yeah! The search starts in 3, 2, 1, let's go!
Sona biscuits are rich in flavor, nourishment, and excitement for kids of all ages. Grab a bite today.
Welcome to Educate TV. Today we are looking at the roles of educational agencies in the Nigerian educational system. And with me this morning is Mrs. Olubumi Francis. Please, can we get to know you?
Well, my name is Stella Olubumi Francis. I'm the Executive Director of Glowing Springs Development Initiative, an education-focused NGO in Lagos State, and currently the coordinator of the Civil Society Action Coalition on Education for All, Lagos State Chapter. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Okay, so today, like I said, that we're looking at the roles of educational agencies in Nigeria, and we're actually going to look at important roles that are played by these educational agencies in Nigeria, and we're going to really have a robust discussion with Mrs. Obi Francis. Could you provide an overview of the Nigerian educational system and the key educational agencies involved in its administration and regulation?
Well, currently, Nigerian education system is domiciled at the Federal Ministry of Education, as well as the Universal Basic Education Commission at the federal level, and their duty as a ministry and a commission is to formulate policies, educational policies, especially the national policy on education, and every other policy that is necessary in the education system to make sure that the Nigerian child has the best quality education, have access, have free and compulsory basic education in Nigeria. And there are several agencies under those two ministries and commission that we'll probably get to discuss.
So what are the primary roles and responsibilities of these educational agencies in ensuring quality education, because I know there are a lot of agencies. Even here in Lagos, there's so many agencies, and I see the activities all over the social media platforms, and most times I see them donating chair tables and all that. What actually are the core roles of these agencies to improve the quality of education? Before now, we never had a lot of agencies, but they are just springing up, and so that means there's something that is the educational system is lacking, that has prompted these agencies to spring up, and they are doing a whole lot of things. What are their core roles in improving the quality of education?
Thank you.
Not just donating tables and chairs and all that.
Thank you. We have to make a distinction between agencies of government and other stakeholders. Stakeholders, maybe like non-governmental organizations, non-government actors can donate chairs and all those stuff into the education sector. But the agencies, a lot of the agencies are more for administration, more for governance. We have a lot of them. Like we have the NUC. The NUC is the National University Commission. They specifically regulate what is going on in our tertiary institutions.
Okay.
Their duty is to accredit courses, to do research, and a lot of other supervise the academic programs in tertiary institutions. They have their, especially the universities actually, this is NUC, National University Commission. They have their counterpart in the colleges of education called NCCE. And then I think in the polytechnics too, specifically they are expected to ensure that there is quality education across board at all the tertiary institutions in the country, and also accredit a lot of the courses that is done. They have the mandate to close down a faculty or a department that is not meeting up with standard. That is their own duty as an agency domiciled under the Ministry of Education.
Okay. Do individuals or privates take up such activities too as an agency?
This particular
focused on infrastructure.
This particular mandate for NUC is strictly for NUC.
And it's strictly academical.
It's strictly academical.
Oh, okay. So
at the level of the tertiary institutions.
What of the secondary college, the secondary schools, primary schools? Do we have regulatory bodies also?
Under UBEC, UBEC is in charge of basic education. It's called Universal Basic Education Commission at the federal level. At the state level, it is called State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB. And they are in charge of primary and junior secondary school. Primary and junior secondary school. While Ministry of Education is in charge of secondary school generally. In fact, it's cross-cutting. It is cross-cutting. Because a lot of times you see Federal Ministry of Education acting in all the secondary schools. While by law, the law of UBEC was enacted 2004 under President Obasanjo. You know, by law, UBEC is supposed to be controlling the basic education, which is the 9 years basic education, 6 years of primary and 3 years of junior secondary school. But in practice, we see Ministry of Education interfering and doing most of the work in that aspect.
Okay, so in your own opinion, how effective have these educational agencies been in fulfilling their roles in Nigeria? How effective?
Well, for the ministry,
like you said, 2004, UBEC came into existence.
Yes.
Okay, so how effective have they been in fulfilling their roles?
Well, UBEC has been trying, but when it comes to the state level, because UBEC has a fund from the consolidated revenue. It's like 2% of the consolidated revenue is given to UBEC to disburse to the states. But there is a condition precedent before the states can access this fund. A lot of states are not accessing the funds because of the requirement precedent. They are expected to provide a counterpart fund, which a lot of states are not ready to. Lagos State graciously is accessing the fund. Some few other states are accessing the fund, but a lot of states are not accessing. So these funds are domiciled, are just stand there at the UBEC account doing nothing. While those states that are not accessing it, their children are suffering lack of adequate educational facilities, structures, and infrastructures. So, in as much as UBEC is trying, the state SUBEBs need to do more to access this fund.
Okay, so if the government, the federal government, actually funds these these agencies or fund the state for education? For me, I think there should be monitoring teams that should monitor that states are using these funds for the purpose that they are sent for, they are disbursed for. So if you're saying that some states do not use these funds and the funds are just domiciled into one account and it's just there, it gives one a big concern. Is it that the federal government does not have any monitoring body that monitors this, the disbursement and the use of these funds, and then what happens at the end of each fiscal year?
Well, UBEC has this monitoring team.
Okay.
For as many states as are able to access it. No states will be forced to access it unless they are able to provide the equity fund. They are not able to access it. For the states that access it and have their action plan on what they want to use the funds for and carry out those activities, those projects, UBEC has its own team that goes out to monitor. CSOs also have their own aspect. For us at Sakefa National, we monitor for UBEC. Okay. Some other CSOs also monitor for UBEC to ensure that these funds translate to physical projects. If a school is supposed to be built from that fund, we will ensure that, okay, there is monitoring to ensure, to track that this fund is actually spent for what it was meant for. If it's for furniture, we go there to the school where it is in the action plan to ensure that these funds were actually utilized, and then there is reports for that.
Okay, so are there other notable educational agencies in Nigeria that have specific roles or responsibilities in areas such as curriculum development, teacher training, or examination administration?
Definitely there are.
Okay.
For instance, for teacher training, we have National Teachers Institute.
Okay.
The National Teachers Institute is for training teachers. It is they help teachers to get new certification. A lot of times it is distant learning. Maybe people that already have a degree will go in for a part-time course to get a PGD. So they have such facilities for graduate teachers, or Nigerians that have other fields of study, but they want to switch over to education.
Okay.
They have PGDs for them. And I think it has been in existence for quite a while. Can't really lay my hands on.
Sandwich kind of stuff?
Something like that.
It's always in the universities.
Not necessarily. Like for Lagos State, they are domiciled somewhere in Ogba, but they have their study centers scattered all over. Some in the secondary school, and people go there to upgrade themselves. They also do research also to improve education in Nigeria. For research, we have the NERDC, the National Education Research Development Center. They are more into research and as well as curriculum development. It's an agency domiciled also under Ministry of Education. So for us to have a change of curriculum, which is long overdue, NERDC has that mandate to do research to ensure that there is quality in our curriculum space in the education sector. They do more of the research. We also have JAM. JAM is also an agency of government. JAM and they conduct the UTME, the Universal Tertiary Matriculation Exam. The University Tertiary UTME. They do that, and they were formed in 1978, and they've been doing fantastically well until recently, when we had the issue of Eme Soma and the fake JAM results, and it brought shock to all of us that JAM results can be cloned. So it's a clarion call to the agency to make sure that they have a good database, a secure database, and their integrity that has been called to question is enhanced. That's for JAM.
It's possible that what happened to this girl, this Mesoma girl, it's been happening over the years.
Definitely.
It's just that she came up because of social media. She came up to say
she exposed
herself. And but do you think if she cloned that, or if she really forged that, would she have been given admission in a school, in the university, with that result? Or would JAMB have given a list of students admitted in the school, in the university, sorry, not hospital, in the university?
Well, let's not forget that she actually passed. 249.
Okay, so she didn't even pass.
249 is a pass mark.
Yes.
If she didn't pass, I don't know, probably there are some mafias inside JAMB and outside of JAMB working together to do all of this.
Was it JAMB that some million snake swallowed? No, but because things that happen in this country, they are really ridiculous. So
definitely.
I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Well, I don't know whether the investigation is ended, but it's
for now the investigation into Mesoma case is ended. Yes, and
she admitted forgery.
She admitted forgery.
So but
it's like I said, JAMB sets requirement for admission into university. They set the type of exams to be done, if it is CBT, or they set the dates and they set the duration. So basically they are in charge of admission into all the tertiary institutions in Nigeria, whether private or public.
Now coming to this CBT exam issue, this CBT mode of exams in Nigeria, I'm not very sure we are ripe for that. I don't know what your agency, I don't know how you look at it, because I've had issues where parents take their children to the centers, exam that is supposed to be 7 o'clock, they will be there till 5 o'clock. It's either the computers are not working, it's either the network is failed, there is no light, no electricity, and one complaint or the other, and they stay from morning till night. Are we actually right? Because these monitoring agencies should be able to come together and look at this critically. Can you say that we are actually ripe for this method of examination for admission into the universities?
Well, I want to believe that JAMB is getting better. They've been on this CBT for close to 10 years.
Yeah.
I know my children did CBT.
Yes,
So there has been some challenges, but I'm sure they are overcoming it. It can only get better.
Well,
it can only get better.
Well, that's true. Student, thank you so much so far. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back shortly. Please stay tuned. Don't get away. We are still looking at roles of educational agencies in the Nigerian educational system.
It's small tonic time. It's no reason to the last drop. Share with friends and family. More tonic. It's good for me and you. Make great things happen with More Tonic.
Malt Tonic is enriched with vitamins and minerals for that rush of vitality you need to reach greatness.
It's Malt Tonic time.
Welcome back. We've been talking on the roles of educational agencies in Nigerian educational system, and here with me has been Mrs. Olubimi Francis, and we'll be looking at the roles, important roles that educational agencies play in the Nigerian education system. Okay, finally, let's look at how we talked about the challenges these agencies face. How do you think these challenges impact in the overall quality of education in Nigeria? The challenges we spoke about of these agencies, the challenges they face, how do you think they impact in the overall quality of education in Nigeria?
Well, it is important in the education sector. One part of the major mandate of UBEC and the UBEC law is access, equity, and quality.
Okay.
And where there is no fund, the quality of education will be called in question. Because for us to have quality teaching, there must be quality teachers.
Yeah.
So it means there is need for teacher training and retraining.
Yes.
If this is not in place, you find out that a lot of private schools are doing well. They don't have the quality of teachers at times that we have, but they have training and retraining.
Yes, continuous training.
So there is need for us in the public sector to ensure that there is adequate fund for teacher training and retraining. You can't give what you don't have. An ill-equipped teacher will not be able to give the maximum. And where there's no maximum, there's no quality teaching, there cannot be quality learning. So in the overall, it affects the quality of education our students are getting. It affects access, because if there are no enough schools, enough structures, enough infrastructures on ground, there will not be schools for some students. Some marginalized students or pupils will be denied access.
Yes, to school. Yeah.
And then also equity. Equity is talking about fairness, giving the same opportunity to every child to access education. So if there's not enough funds, this will also be jeopardized. And a lot of other marginalized children. We've been talking about inclusive education.
Okay.
We find out that because of lack of fund, currently in Lagos State, for instance, we have just 33 inclusive schools. We have inclusive primary schools.
Okay.
We have 1,020 public primary schools in Lagos. Out of these 1,020 public primary schools, there are only 33 inclusive schools. And those inclusive schools are not as inclusive as we want it to be.
So what's the difference, please? What's the difference?
Inclusive schools mean that the children living with disability can mix up in those schools with the normal children.
Okay.
Some years ago, there was a council, that there was a policy on inclusive education that says that schools should be made inclusive. But because of budget constraint, just about 33 schools in Lagos, and even those 33 schools don't have all they need. There are no enough special teachers to cater for these inclusive schools. There are no enough materials like Braille and all the rest, hearing aids for these inclusive schools. There are no enough, the structures. You know, normally in an inclusive school, you expect that there will be a ramp or whatever they call it for children that's probably on wheelchair. All these are not in place, and that is because of a challenge of funds. So there is a need for us to, we have been advocating and we are still advocating that there should be increased funding for education across all the states, and especially at the federal level.
Thank you for today. We've been talking on the roles of educational agencies in Nigerian educational system with Mrs. Bumi Francis, and she has elaborately, spoken about the roles and importance of these agencies. Thank you so much for watching. Please always stay tuned to Educare TV. This is Dr. Mrs. Vine. Thank you.